No matter what path you choose to walk, and whether you believe or not, you can be certain that a fairy is watching.
Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and another episode of Real Fairies and Real Photos with an extended name of Single Photo Faeries, Episode 1. What I mean by this is that I'm taking a single photograph and I'm sharing with you all of the fairies that are in that single photograph. Today we'll be at Effigy Mounds. In the next episode, hard to say where we'll be. So now that you know what's happening with these single fairy photos, let's go check it out. Okay, so here we are at Effigy Mounds, and this is photo number 0877. And there are 7 fairies in this photo. And as with all photos, when I am going through them, I mark each one of them. I didn't start out doing that, so I had a lot of trouble finding some of the fairies again in all of this foliage. But now I do this to all the photos as I find the fairies. Anyway, so here is the first one, and it has 7, actually 8. The last photo has 8. And I'm going to show you each of these in the order in which I found them. So it goes from left to right, and it goes in tiers as I am going through the photograph. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 would have been the order. So we'll start with the first one, which is down here in the corner. So right here he is. I've blown up the picture for you to make it a little bit easier to see. And what captured my interest with this one is the arm. So here we have an arm, and over here I've made this picture bigger and I've lightened it a little bit for you also. So as we can see, this one has a hat, and we have an arm here. We have a mustache, long hair, and we really can't see any more than that of this little one. But he stood out to start with because of the arm. There's only a certain way that an arm can move, and this one is one of those. Moving on to the second one, and if we go back here, this one would be right here. So the second one is right here, and again I've blown up a portion of it. And this is an interesting one in that he has a very interesting shaped head, which I'm going to say is a helmet of some sort because of the way that it is shaped. And again, I've lightened it for you so you can see it a little bit better, but we can see the eye, we can see the nose. Here is an arm and a hand, and really we can't see much else, but he does stand out. And this down here could also be part of his leg. This would be a knee if you look over here. And I'm hoping that you all can see these as well as I can. I know it's difficult on video. Then we go to the third one. This one might be a little harder for you because of the size, but this one would be found over here. A lot smaller than the other two. So this one is also not human. And I'm going to maybe bring this up a little bit for you. Okay, so that kind of works. 1 second. We're going to go back to here and see if that makes a difference also on these for you. So now that we've talked about it, maybe you can actually see a little bit better. And then we'll do the same with this one. We'll get the bugs worked out of this, I promise. Okay, so we can see him really well there. All right, so going back to the third one, we have this little one here, and it may not look like much at the moment, but when you look closely, you can see an eye, a nose. She's wearing like a dark dress, and she has a hat with flowers. It's a lot, because of the size of her, it's a lot blurrier when I make her larger, so you might be able to see her better in this. But here is her face, and part of her face is, the lower part is kind of covered up with this leaf here, but we can see both eyes. And I don't believe she is human. She's a creature of some sort, but she wears human clothes. We find that a lot, actually. All right, and then number 4. This one I call a leprechaun. I'll make it bigger here. And we can see him right here. He is actually right here. So right by the signpost. Oops, wrong one. And he's looking up at the post. We can easily see his hat. And again, I've lightened him over here for you. But we can see his hat, his eyes, nose. He has a good sized beard, a very impressive beard, in fact. And not sure if this is an ear, but kind of looks like it. I do believe this is also his foot. But clearest of all is his face. And then if we back him up a little bit, you can see right here, I believe, like I said, this is his leg and his foot. Not sure what he's doing, climbing over something perhaps, or he's sitting very comfortably. But there he is. And then we go to number 5, I believe. And this one's pretty tiny also. You will find her, let's see, I believe right here. So we will make her a little bit bigger. And for some, she might be doubtful, and that's okay too. But she has a tuft of hair right here, and 2 little eyes, her nose, and here's her little arms. And if you look really closely, you can actually see little hands here, right here and right here. So she's kind of going like this in her lap or in front of her. And this is a larger view. I kept her smaller in this one, but a little bigger than here because she's very small, so she blurs very easily. But yeah, you can't miss the hair, and you certainly can't miss those big eyes. Okay, moving on to number 6. In this one, we have, oh, and you know what? I think this one is the one that I'm showing you now, and this would have been where the little one I just showed you was. And again, we'll work the bugs out, I promise. Okay, so moving on to this one. Again, we have enlarged part of the photograph for you so you can see where she's at. And I've made her larger, and I've made her a little bit larger than over here, but smaller because she's a further distance away, so she is more blurred than the other ones. But as you can see, and I'll use this one, to me this one's a lot clearer. Here is her head. We can see hair. She has an eye here, an eye here, mouth, can't really see a nose. She's got her head turned backwards like this, looking over her shoulder. But we can see here's an arm. Here is her dress, looks like a dress anyway. And here is a leg and a foot. I believe her other leg and foot is somewhere in here, but it's possible she also has it kicked back. I can't tell for sure. If I go over here to this one, this looks more attached, but it also looks a little out of proportion to me. So I'm thinking her leg might be right here. But she's, you know, and that would be better for the gait that she has. She's kind of running, it looks like, and looking over her shoulder. But she's pretty clear in this one right here. And then, last but not least, we have 2 fairies in this photograph. We'll make it a little bit bigger. These are not as clear, but because they are very odd in the photo, that's what draws my attention to them. So we can see them right here. And it looks like they're just conversing. They are, here's one right here, here's one right here. We can see hair or a hat, eyes, and we really can't see a whole lot of the body, but obviously the body is there. This one seems to be sitting on something quite low, because here are the feet. His arm or hand is hanging over the knees. I believe he has a beard too. Here is, I'm assuming, a hat, either that or he has very interestingly shaped hair, an eye, a nose. So if we come over here, I've tried to make them a little larger for you. This may be a woman and a man, and it looks like they might have something in between them. Maybe it's, gosh, I don't even know. It almost looks like a bucket that they're putting things in, but I don't know for sure. And then I've lightened it up a little bit for you, so you can definitely tell that there are beings here. It's just they're so far away in the photograph, and we're looking at right here in comparison to down here in the corner. So there's quite a distance there. And that's it for the fairies in this photo. If you're curious about what this sign might say, we ask that as you walk, okay, try that again. We ask that as you walk over this land, to please remember this is sacred ground to those of the mound building culture. The descendants of this culture are not a lost people, but rather living, thriving American Indian cultures that today reside in what is now called the Midwest. These native descendants continue to honor their ancestors buried here in religious ceremonies on these sacred sites. Please enjoy and respect your time among the old ones, as their spirits will watch over you while you are here. Cloris Lowe, Ho Chun, 2005. Then it says, welcome to your outdoor museum. Please enjoy everything that is here, but remember that there is no collecting of anything within Effigy Mounds National Monument. Everything at this sacred site today was left by those who were here before us, so please leave it as you found it for the enjoyment of those who come after us. So there is your introduction to Effigy Mounds in a little more intimate way. I hope you enjoyed the fairies and were able to see them in one photograph. And we will be back with another episode of Single Photo Faeries in a bit. Okay. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in the next episode of Single Photo Faeries. Take care.